Hi everybody. So I just want to share with you a little bit about my personal story and introduce you to how God touched my life. I was raised right outside this valley in a place called Mevaseret Zion. Very early on, I was taught all about the Bible. I went into the Air Force. I had a very hard time there. I hurt myself during that time. I got medical leave for a little bit and then I went back in. After the Army, tried to figure out what is going to make me happy as a person. So I started chasing the world. I started working hard. I worked a lot, but none of that satisfied me. Smoked pot every day because I wasn't happy, so I was trying to find a way to release my sadness and gain happiness in an artificial way. But it wasn't long-lasting. It was always I had to get high the next day and the next day, and it just became a ritual in my life. And I moved to the States. I moved to New York City. I was around 23 years old at the time. And I went to an acting school called Lee Strasberg Theater and Film Institute. That was a great experience in my life, to be honest, but so much of what I was acting out in the theater was bringing up pain from the past that I didn't know how to deal with. And I got into a really unhealthy relationship during that time in New York. I met this guy. I thought it was love at first sight, but it wasn't. That was all a deception of my heart. During that time, again, I was smoking weed every day, and the weed started to not have an effect on me. And I would just get super sad. I would get into deep, deep, dark thoughts. And I would always look for God at those places, even when I was high. That's when I knew I felt like God had left me. And that's when I started to look for God. I was broken. I had no money anymore. I wasted all my money on drugs. I wasted it on the wrong things, you know. I didn't have the ability to understand the value of what I had. And I was left hungry. There were days where I didn't have enough money for food. It was bad. It got really bad. I think I needed to experience that, because when I was hungry, I suddenly understood something. I suddenly understood how much I miss God, how much I need Him in my life. So I started reading the Bible again. That was the first step I took to reconcile myself with God and to rebuild my relationship with Him. And it pierced my soul to the deepest parts of it. And it revealed to me the sin that I was living in. I needed to get rid of that sin. And I just started crying. I was like, God, if the life I'm living, if there's some sin in it, if having sex out of marriage is sin, you need to show me. Because I was already so confused. I didn't know what was right and what was wrong. I lost my way. A few weeks after that, I went to this church called Church of the City. And at that church, the pastor was talking about sexual immorality and about how you can't live with that sexual sin in your life and still have a godly lifestyle. And that's the moment I knew I couldn't deny it anymore. This lovely woman who was helping me out at the time, and I went to a few of her Bible studies in New York. So I went up after her and I confessed everything to her. She prayed that I would have the boldness to face my former boyfriend and tell him everything that God has done in my life now. And I did. The next day I called my boyfriend and I told him, listen, I can't live this way anymore. It was the highest price for me to pay because that was the one thing I didn't want to give up in my life. That was the one thing I couldn't give up, was love, was true love. I couldn't give that up. And I finally did. I said, I can't, if you don't want to be with me, I understand, but I want you to come to church with me. And he hung up the phone on me at that very moment. And you know, I had a broken heart for months. But God healed my broken heart, and He healed me physically and spiritually. And all the things in the past that affected me, they all happened so I can today share this story with you.
Won't you give him a chance?